An announcement in response to one of S&box's biggest questions has finally been answered. Garry posted up a new blog post on the S&box website announcing the new monetization system called the Pay Fund. To sum up what the Pay Fund is in short, is basically a system that pays out creators of games or maps on S&box. The more players you have on your game or maps, the more money Facepunch will give you. Now, before you start typing about the worrying effects that this could have with a game like S&box, and most likely the exploits people could use to earn a quick buck, Garry addresses the scammers and grifters in separate sections. In the scammer section, Garry states that they'll be dealing with this with the response of, "What do you think we're gonna do with them? Of course, you dumbass." And with grifters, who essentially are going to try to make games specifically for engagement and profit for the long haul, he mentions that there's an algorithm in place for when these games emerge and encourages people to take this type of behavior, specifically with AFKing or idling, that Facepunch and Garry will tweak the algorithm to encourage other and better behavior. Moving on to more information about payment, and a new discovery that I didn't know till recently is majority of the payments that will go out and where this money comes from is directly from Gmod's revenue. This revenue has been funding the development of S&box. As Garry states, it's the next evolution of Garry's mod. Currently at the moment, this is the way that they're funding and also paying out creators over time, as eventually Garry hopes in the future that S&box will become a more sustainable platform that allows creators and developers to get paid from sales and digital cosmetics. Right now, the payment method goes as follows, which is a payment system so they can do KYC, tax forms, and be able to send money out. Garry expects that the system should be in at the end of this month, and if there's any delays, most likely at the end of March. It was also mentioned that they're trying to be careful with the idea of paying people out in obscure places, as they're trying their best to pay out in as many countries as possible. But if a country has sanctions against it, then they won't be able to send money until those sanctions have been lifted. Majority of this monetization system is very new and something that Facepunch is working on actively, but nonetheless gives the opportunity to basically anyone who wants to make games and possibly make a living off of S&box if it reaches new heights for the future. Also, in my opinion, reason why I feel as though personally there's been an up and down shift of content being developed currently for S&box while it's still in its developer preview stage is due to no possible return of investment for the efforts of many game developers who put hundreds of hours of coding to just not get paid. I mean, I get it. Everyone wants to get paid, but even though many people have mentioned that when the floodgates opened for S&box's preview, that there wasn't as much functional or working content at the time, eventually, majority of these issues were fixed, and the initiative for creating games seemed more like a roller coaster of interest. And understandably, a lot of developers would basically wait till a game jam was round for a chance to get paid for their hard work. Lastly, something I want to mention is that it makes sense why Facepunch and Garry want to get developers interested and give them an initiative to develop games for S&box before it's released so that there's content and also the chance to get paid for it. I've seen so many arguments mentioning that S&box either has no content or why is Facepunch putting all this on creators, even though S&box is a game that you're supposed to be creating things in. But I get it. If there's no content, you don't have a game. And if you don't have a game with content and developers to make that content and also a S&box mode, you don't have S&box. Let me know what you think down below, and if you enjoy S&box, you'll love this video right here on screen. Thanks for watching.